Hey guys, welcome to another video and thanks for clicking on this one. In this video, I'm just going to jump right into it. About 2 days ago, I spoke about Apple and I had shared a pattern that I saw that it was forming. And I told you that it wasn't confirmed yet, but it seemed like it bounced off that 201 support level twice and it was likely going to reverse. Tuesday, when the stock market opened, I noticed that pattern didn't really hold. It kind of just trailed off to the side and didn't really make any much moves. And that was because of the information that was released about more tariffs being imposed. All of that really didn't help the market. But I still held the belief because a new catalyst came into the picture and the price points that I had predicted, or at least that I had mentioned in that video, came through. Well, the first one was the 207, 208 line, and as you can see in this picture, it touched that line, broke through that, and I actually said in that video that if we could pass that 208 line, or resistance in this case, that we would go higher to about 214, and at the time of recording this video, it's around 214. Now, of course, there's a reason for that, and that is because of the news about Trump and the CEO of Apple that are going to meet later today. Now, the recording of this video, they haven't met yet, and I wish I had actually made this video afterwards, but I'm working and I won't have time to make this video and edit it and put everything together for you, for your enjoyment, and of course maybe for your learning purposes. So if you're new and you're looking into learning more about things like this and making some money like I did today on Apple, today I made about $250, which isn't life-changing money, but the goal is that you are able to diversify your investments and let your investments grow, because this $250 each that I made will go towards buying another Apple stock that I didn't really have to stress about, because I could just read the chart, I could tell that this is something that is likely going to reverse, and I had the inclination that it would happen soon. One of the things I would like to say is that Apple reported their earnings last week, and after the reported earnings, it jumped all the way to around 208, and it kind of stayed there. I think 212 actually. It stayed there for some time and didn't really do much, and of course it started selling off again. And when it got back to 201, that was when I felt like, you know what, this is a time to get in. I bought a few Apple shares and of course bought a call that I just showed the picture of. Now, so here's what is going on. For those that have had a lot of negative things to say about Apple, the truth is that if you look at the numbers, you would see that Apple is very, very strong, in a strong position in particular. Let's talk about some of the few things that you need to keep in mind. The financial statement shows that Apple actually made $94 billion in revenue. Their net income was $23.4 billion. Now, a lot of people had said things like, oh, Apple sales were down, people are not really upgrading their phone. In as much as that is true, you also have to understand that people always want the next big thing. And in as much as Samsung and the other competitors are stepping up, with new devices and new phones and all that, Apple does have a monopoly, and that is because of the ecosystem that they've built around the Apple store, right? The App Store programs, and you have all these devices that they sell to you: the watch, the phone, the AirPods, the computers, the TV, all that stuff, right? They've built this ecosystem around this product that most of us are attached to. And the truth is that in order to break out of that system, it takes a lot. I mean, ask me, I've been in there where I've thought to myself, like, maybe I should try something else. But when you try something else, you just realize that it doesn't integrate well with all these other devices. And that was done intentionally. So yes, they got us, but you have to be smart, because the goal is that before you go buy the latest iPhone, before you go buy the latest Apple Pods or whatever it is, make sure Apple is paying you like it just did for me. Buy their stocks, hold their stocks. Make sure you are in the stock business, right? Stock business. So make sure you're in the business, because at the end of the day, they want to make as much money from you, but you also have to make sure you're getting some return on your investments. So if you're buying the product, you better make sure that you hold some Apple shares as well. Now, the next thing that I will share with you here, if you look into the breakdown of their sales by category, you would see that the iPhone was, of course, the majority of it, followed by their services. Their services business is really taking off. This is one that has slowly improved over time as they've expanded their services to different sectors of their business. And if you go to some of the services that you have here, there are things that you don't really think about because maybe you don't use this product, maybe you don't use the services, maybe you don't really look into it, right? But if you think about all the products that they have, the iPhone, the Mac, the iPad, the Watch, Vision Pro, and AirPods and TV, and all these products that they have, they do provide some support for them. And that support also means that they are generating revenue from those things. And this does not include the services that you pay for on a monthly basis, such as like the storage or like the Apple Care product that you pay for on this product. So the point here is Apple is smart about what they are doing. Now, the issue that they are seeing right now, of course, is how they not keeping up with this AI race. And one thing that I've learned or that I've noticed about Apple is Apple may not be the first, but when they step into the business, they take over it. Think about this small device that they sell, and I can't remember the name now. You gotta please remind me in the comment section. But it's that tracking device that they have. I've forgotten what I actually have it, but I can't remember what it is now. That product is something that Apple didn't come up with. It wasn't they weren't the first, but when they stepped into it, they've made it better. They've improved it. Now, are they the best one out there? No, but when it integrates well with your devices, it really makes your life easy. You don't even have to think about it. You just think, okay, you know what? I want to track my luggage. I go buy the Apple Tag, that's what it is. I want to track my wallet. Oh, I'm going to get Apple Tag. You don't think about any other product, at least for me. So the point here is those kind of things are things that makes Apple very unique. And with a lot of cash at hand, Apple has the ability to deploy and spend money to make the products better. So it's okay when all these other companies, Meta, Google, OpenAI, are all up on top of the race. The truth is that when Apple steps in, it integrates well into what they already have, and that is what makes them unique and puts them in a unique position. They don't try to be the first, but they try to tag along once the product is made well. So when these other companies have spent tons of money to develop a product and made it really good, well, Apple comes up with its own version of that product and makes it better because guess what? It integrates well with these other systems that they have. And that is the advantage of Apple. And that is why I continue to believe in Apple on a long term. So if I see a price of Apple that I like, I buy. And that is what I will tell you as well. If you see a price you like, buy Apple, because in the long run, I believe Apple will do well. Now, the short-term worry for Apple is that, the tariff situation with China, and now they've moved some of their production to India. But the goal is to get them to produce in the US. And you have to understand that the president is strategically positioning Apple to do that. Let me tell you why. So they've imposed a high tariff on China, but they're working towards a deal as we speak. We don't know how that will play out. Guess what? India has been buying oil from Russia. Because they're buying oil, he slapped on an additional 50% tariff on India as of today. What that means is that any product coming out of India into the US, including the iPhone, will be subject to that tariff. Where does that put Apple? That puts Apple in a position to not be, in a position to try to improve or develop the manufacturing business in those regions. Because yes, it's usually cheaper to produce over there, but when the tariff is slapped on and these countries are in this back and forth tit for tat increase in tariffs, then that doesn't give them any benefit in terms of Apple. So Apple is forced to, of course, invest in the US. Now, the worry about analysts is that, by investing in the US, the production cost per unit for iPhone will go up, and not just iPhone, any of the product they make in the US will go up significantly. And that is true. But that shouldn't be the only thing that you want to focus on, because there is the massive scale, which is the ability for Apple to mass produce and also the ability to control cost. You have to remember, like I mentioned here, United States, or at least on their report, the United States has the highest number of sales. They made about 44 billion in one quarter just from the iPhone in the US. iPhone is one of the strongest products that they offer. And my belief is that Apple will probably incur some of those costs, all right, so that the price of iPhone doesn't get too outrageous. Now, the truth is that the cost of iPhone will continue to go up. It has always gone up in the past. It will continue to go up. But that doesn't dissuade people like me from investing in Apple. Short term, yes, Apple may see some drag in their finances and they may not be able to make as much profit. But in the long term, I believe Apple is still a strong buy, in my opinion. I could be wrong. The next company that I'm going to talk about is Arista Networks. They reported earnings yesterday and they really did an amazing job. Here, what is interesting about ANET is that they've always exceeded the expectations of the market. And that is always a very strong indication that the stock will continue to rise. At the recording of this video, ANET was around $138. It might have changed now. But what I want to point to you is that this is a company that I've seen when it was around $80-something and I actually bought more when it went down. And it has definitely paid dividends in terms of paid off, because I've actually sold some of it and I still have some of it. So what have I seen with this company? The fact that this AI network will continue to be deployed by these Mark 7 companies, these are the companies that are doing the job. These are the companies that are actually supplying the necessary infrastructure to make that happen, the networking aspect. If you look at their numbers, it's steadily gone up. The last, in 2024, it was 665, now it's 888. The expectation is that this will continue to rise for the foreseeable future, at least in the near term. Now, that doesn't mean that you should jump in and go buy the stock right away. That is not what I'm saying. The goal here is that you want to identify these great companies, understand the economics that is surrounding their business, and see how they can make money. If you understand those concepts, it positions you to buy them on the low. So what is on the low that I'm talking about? This is a very volatile one. Now it's up to $138. And I can bet with you, in the next 6 months, there will be an opportunity for you to be able to get this below $100. Why? Because there's going to be some information that comes up in the news that will sell them off, just like Apple, just like Google, just like any of these other companies. So you just have to be patient to be able to pick this type of companies, add them to your portfolio, and ride them out. Now, I'm not always in a position to capture every opportunity. But when I see a good company that I like, I start to watch it. I add it to my watch list. I start to watch it over time. And if I see the price that I like, I buy. That's all I wanted to share with you today. If you found value in this one, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. I'd love to see you in a future one.